Namaste, I'm Dr. Robert, and today my subject for 5-ish minutes with Dr. Robert is the Ayanamsha. Ayanamsha means, Ayana means the turning in the direction of, the path, and Amsha means portion. So what the Ayanamsha is requires a little bit of understanding of astronomy. The zodiac, which is 8 degrees above and 8 degrees below the apparent, where the equator intersects with space, the plane of the equator. The zodiac is the same all around the world. But when we try to identify constellations and signs and things like that, we have to have a point at which we begin the zodiac. By definition, the beginning of the zodiac is 0 degrees of Aries, but there are a couple of ways that people determine where 0 degrees of Aries is located. One is by employing the fixed stars. And of the fixed stars, this is what is called sidereal astrology. That means related to the stars. Of the fixed stars, the one that is most important in this context is the star Spica. You can generally find Spica in the sky if you can locate the Big Dipper. You take the handle of the Dipper, you follow the arc of the handle, and you arc to Arcturus, which is one of the brightest stars in the sky. And then you spike to Spica. You move more or less straight in the direction, and Spica is not quite as bright as Arcturus, but almost. Spica is approximately 180 degrees bang opposite where 0 degrees of Aries is. Spica is on the border of the constellations in the sky, Virgo and Libra. So that's one way of determining it. Another way is to use the tropical definition, and that is related to the sun. And so by definition, the point that the sun occupies at the moment of the vernal equinox is that time in spring in the northern hemisphere when night and day are equal. And nowadays that's happening on March 21st, usually, sometimes the 22nd. So at that moment, wherever the sun happens to occupy, that is taken for that year as 0 degrees of Aries. Now it just so happens because of a phenomenon called the precession of the equinoxes, because the Earth is spinning on its axis as it moves around in space around the sun. But it's not spinning on its axis in a perfect kind of way. If you have a spinning top or a dreidel, you will notice as it starts to slow down that it will start to move in this kind of direction. And that's what the Earth is doing. The pole of the Earth is moving in a big circle, and it's moving in a sort of backwards kind of anti-clockwise, counterclockwise direction. One of the things this means is that the current pole star, Polaris, is not going to be the pole star for more than a few thousand years, and then it will move on to another star. It takes about 25,000 years, a little bit more than 25,000 years, to go in this giant circle. And so what happens is, as this happens, that point on which, at which the sun exists, 0 degrees of Aries, March the 21st, that is always moving slightly backwards against the constellations. The difference between the place where sidereal Aries 0 degrees is located and tropical Aries 0 degrees is located is called the Ayanamsha. And that's what you need to know if you want to convert a sidereal horoscope into a tropical horoscope. Tropical horoscopes, Western astrology; sidereal horoscopes, Indian astrology. The amount of the Ayanamsha is something that is not completely agreed upon. There are several different Ayanamshas, the Yukteswara Ayanamsha, the Ramana Ayanamsha. The two most common ones are the Chitrapaksha Ayanamsha, or the Lahiri Ayanamsha, that's the most common, and also the one that the famous astrologer Krishnamurti developed that is very slightly off from that Chitrapaksha Ayanamsha. So whenever you are going to work with astrology, you need to know about the Ayanamsha because it is a very important component of understanding how to convert one horoscope into another. This is Dr. Robert, wishing everyone a happy experience of the reality of the sky.